He got benched. He had one touch. Riley had one touch. Wright, Callanan, their small forward line that we spoke of so well at half-time, just failed to fire. Ball didn't get down there as well.
Final term underway. Dangerfield hunts it, left it behind. 9-point lead to Adelaide. Petrenko tried to thread it through. Pavlich leading from the front. He's in the midfield now. Barlow can't keep it in.
And there'll be a lot of Crows who have had stellar years but had really bad 30 minutes of footy against the Pies last week. And they'll know that that skeleton will start to haunt them if they fade away here in this next 30.
Well and truly in that contest at three-quarter time last week, and they let it slip with the goalless last term. Ballantyne to the square, high, Main!
What a mark.
That is a massive grab.
In fact, it was a great contested ball won by Ballantyne to set it up. The handball came from Sloane to Dangerfield. Dangerfield and Ballantyne went head-to-head. Ballantyne was too good on that occasion.
Dwayne is just asking whether it was in the square or out of it. The goal umpire couldn't tell him.
Can't go to the video review for that, but Main is 100% from set shots. So you can put this in the book. It'll be a 3-point margin, and it'll be the closest the Dockers have been since the opening term. It's a pensive crowd waiting for this kick. But they roar now. It's a one-kick game.
Well, Shuri, half an hour ago, it looked like it was going to be a blowout. Now we have got the close one.
Well, yeah, they were 23 points at half time, but they did kick to 30, what was it, Dwayne? 36 points, so that was a big lead. It's all happened out of the midfield too. I think the Sandylands now, they're taking advantage of a lot of his taps. Well done to Ballantyne here, because that was a one-on-one against Dangerfield, and then a great centering kick, which put enormous pressure on the Adelaide Crows. Main, it was good just before three-quarter time.
Well, it's Crow time, Shuri. Some of the senior players have got to lift. We mentioned Riley across that half-back line. In fact, they're not getting any run off that half-back line. Van Berlo continues to chase Hill, but if you were sending the runner out, who would you go to?
Oh, boy, I think just all their midfielders to say, boys, we've got to start getting our hands. That contested possession, they were smashed in that third quarter, which is their strength.
Jared, would you go Graham Johncock? He made a name for himself off that half-back line.
Well, possibly, Jacko, but they tend to like him forward of the centre at this stage. I think it's their match winners like Dangerfield. He looks flat at the present time. Maybe he needs to go out into the forward line and put Bernie Vince, who really hasn't made an impact today, onto the ball. Just begged the question, Bernie, are you going to get involved this afternoon?
Well, we know he owes them one. Ball in on the wing. Sandilands and Jacobs, still the premier ruckman in the competition. Mzungu hacks it forward. The first gamer gets his chance. Crows yet again. Main.
Great mark.
Big hip and shoulder by Main on Talia. It was allowed. Umpire said it was okay. Pavlich gives Fremantle the lead for the first time since the opening term. They've come from 36 down. They lead by 3.
Chris Main, you contested before three-quarter time when I said it was a 1-on-3. You caused the spillage to get a goal to get him right back in the game. Well, here, Talia, the umpires probably just said this is a 50-50 contest, boys. Both had great courage, but have a look at here. Talia goes back, eyes on the ball. Did Main have his eyes on the ball? The umpire saw it that way, so you can only play as the umpire sees it. So great contest across our forward line.
Shit.
Well, just a pity that the goal that gets everybody up and about here at Fremantle was a free kick to Adelaide, but Adelaide have got to put that behind them. They are right under the pump here because the Purple Haze have found a way forward.
Talia robbed there. Main wasn't attempting a mark, he was just attempting a body spoil. Hill wide, Barlow. Fremantle with all the momentum. A floater, De Boer stands under it. Not clear by Doughty. Vince, a little fumble from Dangerfield. We didn't see any of those in the first half. Free kick too high, Jesse Crichton.
Dangerfield needs to come from the ground. He can't get out of his shadow at the present time. He's run himself into the ground.
Hill long.
Against Ballantyne.
Free kick to Vince against Ballantyne.
Dangerfield was involved in the first one with Hayden Ballantyne. Ballantyne beat him. I think he's worked his way up to exhaustion and needs a rest either forward or on the bench because they need an injection of speed or something in the middle.
Mayne might go again. Here he does, and affects a spoil.
They are flat, boys, from ground level here. They are just reactive at the Adelaide Crows, and Fremantle's running. I don't know where it's come from, but they are pumped.
I think that's why Ross Lyon was so enthusiastic with Crichton. It was because of the work he was doing on the bloke who's one of the Brownlow medal favourites, Dangerfield.
Pavlich caught, turnover, Sloan towards Johncock, the fresh man. Knocks it down to Callan, but he's got no one to go to forward. Now Johncock runs for him. Good 1-2. Johncock, Callan, maintain position.
Yep.
Walker.
This is where they've got a distinct advantage. They've got blokes like Walker who could go back and legitimately have a crack at this. He could ping this, Shuri.
Adelaide have a bye next week. They can leave it all out here right now. Fremantle have a game next week and then their bye. Richmond next week at the G. But Adelaide would not want to go into the bye on the back of 2 losses in a row after a string of 5 victories in a row. Walker back into the team this week from 55. It's long. Post.
Oh. Well, they're playing like they need the bye just at the moment. We know they've been up for a hell of a long time. There were suggestions that it all hit them at 3/4 time last week. Well, right now it is looking like a sledgehammer's whacked them in the back of the head.
Pavlich up.
Got to find some runners.
Jacobs. Van Berlo stolen. De Boer heads in Sandlin's direction. Rutten got a fist on it but went to ground. Sandlin's to Ballantyne. No one to go to. Barlow running for him now. Goes back to Sandlin's. A wobbler. Didn't look. Turnover.
See, Hayden Ballantyne, sometimes you just think, I know he couldn't kick forward then, but
why not, Shuri?
Well, they had players. You look up the ground and he just had numbers there all the time, so you just turn it over anyway. But he just tries to invent a couple of times, Jacko, and he slipped over on that occasion. Just keep your feet and maybe come back in the corridor, kick backwards.
Riley running from defence. It's got Thompson.
Gone forward by the looks of it, Gerard.
Well, I think him and Dangerfield need to get out of the middle. Thompson's probably got a bit more juice left, but certainly Dangerfield, goal square for mine.
To the pocket for Walker. Johnson got there first, left it behind. Walker spins, turns, hands it up to Douglas from the impossible angle. And it was impossible. Should have given it first time, Richard Douglas told Taylor Walker. There's some friction in the camp. It's a 1-point game.
Crows have got the big press up the ground. Dowdy's come onto the ground to pick up Greg Broughton, who's forward, and he was spare.
Big fist from Jacobs.
That's good. That's good. That's an out clause there. That's what we've been thinking about. They've been kicking into the corridor a bit from fullback too much, as in just outside the centre square. Get it here, and you can fight another day now.
Dockers have been under pressure all week in the press. They win this, there'll be nothing ugly about it. Poor Pleasure. Heads to the pocket. Walker right there. Dawson.
Which is a great clearance. Brilliant clearance.
He's had a good game, Zach Dawson, though, I think.
I'll tell you what, there's been a few that have come at him over time. He's been blamed for everything bar global warming, Zach Dawson, in the past 5 years.
With her?
We'll get him on that, Dwayne.
Ball back into play. Neil bangs it clear. Yench hasn't seen a lot of it.
No, but that was really good body work up against the youngster, though.
Fremantle by a point.
Got a man up here. They're starting to find numbers, Adelaide.
Dowdy.
Rutten's back into the centre circle if you want to come backwards. Short kick forward. Got numbers behind the ball here.
Well, they've got Jacobs forward. Kurt Tippett has really had no impact on this match. Still another 20 minutes, though, to make a mark.
Jacobs and Tippett both there. Dawson crunches it. Poor Pleasure. Neil steals it from him. McFarlane.
Well, in the second half, Dwayne,
look for the switch here.
The Dockers have outcrowed the Crows because you look at the possession, the contested possession numbers. It's 52 in the second half to 43 in favour of the Docker.
Yes, and for those who don't know, Adelaide Crows were the #1 contested possession team in the comp and the #1 clearance team in the comp. They've been taken to the cleaners in the second half, and Mundy can add to the lead. Short, he misses Pavlich. He could have gone for goal. He could have short passed. He didn't either. Riley. He was corralled well by Crozier. Callan. Sloan. Good hands.
Jared, you said about Bernie Vince, both him and Riley have had 6 possessions between them in the second half, so they certainly need a lift for Adelaide if they're going to get up in this game.
Douglas, or turnover, Hill, just off the bench. He didn't know he was coming on. He timed his run beautifully. Duffield wrapped up by Dangerfield.
Gee, that's unbelievable, that bench change. What a great timing.
Fremantle chant rings around Patersons Stadium. Sandlin's down to Pearce, to Mazungu, to Barlow, to Pavlich in a one-on-one with Talia. Thumps it clear. Broughton could pounce. Tried to get on his boot quickly. Main keeps it alive. No, he doesn't. Everybody stopped. The boundary umpire was wise to it. Ball in, but a good spot for a ball in for Fremantle.
Now let's see what Sandlands can do here. You'd think he might tap over the back here, wouldn't you? There it is.
Dangerfield messed it. Fresh air shot at it. Ibbotson back into the lineup this week. Dragged down. Just got a toe on that. Hacked clear by Shaw. But it might be coming back.
They're just not running anywhere near as hard as the Dockers at this stage. They've got to try something a little bit different. I think Jacko might be right and get John Cock into the middle, who's got fresh legs.
Petrenko's got to go alone here. He's 1 on 3 and the boundary line is a win, and that cannot possibly pay deliberate.
I thought that umpire was going to play deliberate then, Dwayne, when you said that. It came off the side of his boot. Great smother, though.
80 plays 81. From the flick down. Sloan from 45.
Brilliant.
That'll break a few hearts. Adelaide back in front.
Got to look at that stop play, Jared. We've got to see this again. What happened with the breakdown here?
Not sure, Shuri, but I know this guy has got a massive heart. Struggled in the last quarter last week. I reckon he'd be really driving him at this stage.
Mazungu.
There it is. Well, there's no pressure on the ruckman at all. No one went to the ruck, so it was a free hit. And a great finish from Rory Sloan. Anybody going to jump on board with him and get the Crows home?
All right, Jared, let's have a look. It looks like Sloan. I'm thinking Mazungu's his man, OK? So we can see Mazungu. Yeah, we had him there. Not goal side, but Mazungu, that is horrible defensive positioning. Even though you're tired, just get goal side and bump away.
No ruckman, Shuri.
Yeah, I still reckon Mazungu's shocking position, though, but anyway.
Neal with the clearance. Brighton almost. Shaw. In fact, it was Smith wrapped up for Adelaide. Couldn't get it free. Thompson also wrapped up.
Sure, what was disappointing with that also, Fremantle had 2 players back. They needed to come up to the contest. They stayed in the hole, allowed Adelaide easy access.
Sandlands and Jacobs. Sloan on hands and knees. Thompson caught high by Mazungu. Crowd don't like it, but it was there.
Second possession for the quarter.
To poor pleasure. Sat on him a bit. Ballantyne, good contest. Ballantyne free. Crowd enjoyed that. But they still trail. 14 minutes gone. Called to go, as you heard.
What's the ball?
Takes on poor pleasure and wins. Pass to Neal. Sat on him a bit. Dangerfield thumped it down, took it out.
Hasn't touched it this quarter, Dangerfield.
And he's shot. His legs are gone. And I think that the coaching staff need to recognise it and give him a chop out.
Maybe take him forward to the square and let Petrenko have a run around the ball, Jared. Someone like that with a bit of leg speed.
Another clearance to Adelaide, the #1 clearance team in the comp, to Walker from poor pleasure. Right off hands. Petrenko. No one's in the square. He realises that now.
John Cock's free.
John Cock in the pocket. Got it. And this becomes the biggest kick of the game. If you've joined us late, the Adelaide Crows led by 36 points. Fremantle with a massive second half onslaught, took the lead back again. But right now it's Adelaide by 5 with this kick to come. 31,392 here on the edge of their seats for this. The sub, the fresh man on.
It's a good kick.
Cool head. Slots a blinder.
Well, somebody had to lift, and it was good clearance on the centre wing. Thompson got involved, got the ball forward. Somebody had to kick the goal, and once again, from that pocket, he has come up trumps. Well, there it is, Taylor Walker bringing the ball. Nice centre, wasn't it? I think it was Jens. And a great kick here from Petrenko. Just a good passage of play and a good response by the Adelaide Crows.
Brenton Sanderson, first season as an AFL coach. His team third right now. They'll move back into equal top with a win, with a couple of results still to be known this round. Big game for them, and for Fremantle, 11th right now, but they'll be back inside the top 8 tonight with a win. Sloan to Douglas. He burns them off. No, he doesn't. Got a nudge. De Boer just got there in time. It was a push to the backside, and that's not a free. Only if it's a push to the back. Mundy went for the line, missed the ball. Mzungu. Mundy back in. Umpires have been letting these go a while. Petrenko, somehow a kick. Walker up, knocked down to ground. Adelaide with the numbers. Van Berlo, kick smothered. Hill, great commitment there, and bounced up like a cat. Kicks toward the wing, and he gets the result out of bounds.
And we're seeing a work rate that Stephen Hill has to bring each and every week. There's the push, Dwayne. That's a push in the back, surely.
Well, no, the backside's allowed. I don't make the rules up, Jared. I'm just telling you what the rules are. If it's in the back, it's a free.
Had to let that go in this type of situation. That's a free kick in the top of the arms.
Leon said the umpire, and they've said that a lot today.
I tell you what, some great efforts, though. You called it Sloan out of the centre, Jared, was brilliant. De Boer got the fingertip in, and then Hill's effort on the half-forward line. You know, they're playing for keeps, these two sides. Massive stakes here.
We're approaching the halfway point of the season. It's come next week. It's a huge game, and both these teams know it. Dangerfield makes some ground, ball in.
All right, we've got to see if Fremantle get to this contest and set up a lot better than what they have. They're nearly out on their feet too, but they've had the last two clearances like this, Dwayne, have gone Adelaide's way too easily.
Tippett gets front spot, and that's position 8 for pleasure. Dangerfield, Barlow, Van Berlo, and he rolls it to attacking 50. Mzungu bounced unkindly, couldn't collect it. Sloan does, flicks the handball out. Petrenko gets it back, kicks it goal and misses.
What about Rory Sloan's last 7 minutes?
Well, he was quiet in the last term last week.
Striving him today, though, he is like a maniac. 6 possessions, stoppages, run with, drag down. Can't out.
I'm telling you, Jared's love child.
He's having a crack.
It's an even 2-goal margin. Sandlin's up. Can't mark it, though, and it was there for him. Crichton gives it to him. Kick half smothered. Shaw gets there, but dropped it as he was tackled. Shoots it out to Sloan. Van Berlo goes to the pass. Right in the pocket. McFarlane with him. Right. Gets up, caught. Hands it out to poor pleasure. Left it behind. Crozier. First gamer was there, and he took it to the line.
It's a couple of times, and Van Berlo's got his hand in the air, and fair enough too. A couple of times in this last quarter, or the last half in particular, he hasn't hit targets. He's too good a player for that.
Oh, Zach Clark just got pushed in the ruck by Sandilands then. Pretty ordinary effort at that contest.
McFarlane didn't want to take it out. Got it out.
Well, they've got to get the ball in the right bloke's hands now, Shuri, and Stephen Hill is the right man at the moment because he's a 70-metre player. Run 20, kick 50, and kick accurately. And they've got Sandilands at the moment, so they're missing out of these clearances. They've got to target deep.
Pay the mark. Walker up. Got it. You heard the umpire's call. The players reacted, and Walker was first to react. They've missed him the last couple of weeks, especially last week. But he is back with a vengeance if he kicks this.
Just trying to find the Fremantle player. Once he takes this marker, as he goes to this marker, Fremantle player was the loose man. and he got caught up in his own teammate, so he couldn't run and jump at the contest. But geez, he's a dangerous player. Gee, quick on the lead.
The boos come. That's what he has ahead of him, and he's automatic from there. It's a 3-goal lead.
A 3-goal lead. We saw this last night with the Saints. They were dead and buried. Ross Lyon needs one more effort. He needs an effort out of the skipper. He needs an effort out of Sandlands. He needs Hill to get the ball in his hands, and the youngsters and the experienced players to have 5 minutes that could determine their year.
No doubt, Jared. Good call there.
And it's not impossible. We saw the Saints hit the front when many were giving them away in exactly this same position.
They're going to have to kick 15 or 16 goals to win it, Fremantle. We thought that coming in. Sandlands, clearance essential. Douglas overruns it. Fremantle get the clearance. Sandlands. Oh, Neil, not 15.
Oh, right, but you cannot. You've got to protect the player going with the ball. If that wasn't in the
I
bag,
think it was just consistency after the one we saw earlier where a bloke ended up in hospital.
Oh, well.
I think that was the payback.
21 minutes gone, final term. Still plenty of time left in this. Free kick, Sloane held off the ball.
Oh, come on. You can't afford to do that. You've got to go and win the ball yourself now, not worry so much that you give cheap free kicks away. He's been brilliant this last quarter, though.
Certainly has, Shorey responded because in his third quarter he was very quiet.
Vince. Seconds continue to tick.
Now, the beauty for the Crows is that they've got the big marking targets.
Walker, one of them, couldn't mark that. Hits the deck and Hill gets there. We tried to run away and then he dropped it as he was tackled. Van Berlo hands it over to Wright from 45. Oh, that's big time. Baby, is that big.
That's why Wright is a player that continues to impress. He was away there, Stephen Hill. This was the beginnings of a potential match-lifting goal.
Oh, well
and yet
done.
he just dragged him down. He must have extraordinary speed because Hill has got it. And then he bobbed up. Geez, the recovery and the agility was fantastic. Have a look at him, just straight up, bang. He wants that goal, and he gets that goal. Pressure goal.
Crows threw him a lifeline a few years ago. He was beaten up, woke up in hospital, swelling on the brain, thought he'd never play footy again. Crows gave him a lifeline, and hasn't he paid them back in spades? He's had a great afternoon at the office, Matthew Wright. The Crows are one step closer to stealing this back again.
Well, give them credit. They were gone. They were out on their feet. And it's been a few players who have left. We've talked about Sloane, but I just think those small forwards have always been a danger all night or all day. And Jared's right. When you've got those key forwards, you know you've got an outlet pass.
Thompson.
And you can do so much simulation at training, but when you're out in the third quarter here, like Adelaide will challenge, and to respond the way they did, that's the best form of, I guess, game time is being put in that situation.
There's that outlet pass.
Tippett hasn't taken a lot of contested marks today. Came into this as the #1 contested mark in the comp. Well, that was a good time to be taking one. 5 minutes left on the clock. Walker. Just as good a time to be taking one for Taylor Walker.
I'll tell you what, Dwayne, isn't it beautiful when you just say something and then you get two big blokes just clunk marks because you've got an outlet clause. And that's probably the difference between the two sides. We talked about kicking ability, as in hitting targets. Well, Fremantle changed that in the third quarter, but they just haven't had someone who can clunk a mark, other than Pavlich being dangerous early, in their forward 50 as a tall.
All the discussion over the weekend is going to be about Buddy Franklin's 13, and rightly so, and Jack Rewald's 8. But Rory Sloane's game today may not be the equivalent of 13, but he's had 10 possessions in this last quarter out of 60 possessions. Every 6th possession for the Crows has been the bloke with the blonde hair.
And Walker brings that back with perfection. The Adelaide Crows, killer elite, have put the sword through Fremantle.
Well, we just go back to it again. it has been an area where has been concern. A big kick forward. You know, you get around your player, you've got players looking around saying, do I have to go back? Valentine tried to do his best, but when you're this big and that strong and that quick off the mark, you're going to be a dangerous option, and they have got it, the Adelaide Crows. This will keep them in a game for a long period of time in finals if they were to qualify high.
The last 5 goals in a row, Adelaide. And that will please Brenton Sanderson. So will the bye next week. They will be equal top of the AFL ladder tonight. High tackle in the middle. 8 wins and 2 losses heading to the bye. If Brenton Sanderson was offered that at the start of the year, he would have taken it. Essendon to play tonight. West Coast Eagles to play tomorrow, of course. The Adelaide Crows will sit equal top of the ladder with them tonight.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant first half of the season. Absolutely amazing stuff from Brenton Sanderson and these Crows, and they'll go into the bye probably starting to dream of what can happen. It'll be 1 week at a time, of course, but there's that little bloke at the back of your mind saying, gee, this could be exciting deep in the September action.
How long can you doubt them for? People doubted them when they won the NAB Cup Monday.
You can't take this group. This group are up and away. And I think the other thing to come out of this is that Ross Lyon has found something today. And I think his group's found something. They've been short.
McFarlane.
They'll come up with a loss, but they've won a few admirers back today, Shuri.
The ball. A few will say, well, it's 3 losses in a row, regardless of how you look at it. After 10 games last year, they were 5 wins and 5 losses under Mark Harvey, but they went on to lose their last 7 games in a row last year and finish 11th. There will be 5 wins and 5 losses after 10 games this year as well. And it's all about the second half of the season for Fremantle now. Right now, after this loss, they'll be 12th or 13th on the AFL ladder. McFarlane taken to the line and taken across.
14-1 clearances in about the last 8 minutes, Jared. Just shows you their senior players have lifted. You talked about Sloan, but there's been a few other players who have just said, well, this game was going to be taken away from them. We stand up, and that's all as well for, like I said, finals pressure.
The ball.
Well, we go back to right, Shuri. That tackle and goal, that was just A-grade stuff.
Main collects, gives to Hill, who hasn't stopped trying. Not a lot to go to by foot. To Broughton by hand. But time against them, 2.5 minutes. Broughton sizes up the options and can't nail it.
Stephen Hill, the whole side needs 2 more Stephen Hills, doesn't it, Fremantle?
The competition needs 12 more Stephen Hills.
But it's just the way he broke the line, and he cannot do it and sustain it for long periods of the game. He can still do it in little areas, but they need another, maybe 1 more would be a big help because they are a bit slow on the outside.
Well, they've got another one. He's called Fife.
Yes.
And unfortunately he's injured, but they're going to get Morabito and Fife. Morabito hopefully this year, Fife next year, with the introduction of Crozier and Neal. They're starting to get some young midfield talent, and that's what they desperately need. They need another division of midfielders to come in and support those that are there.
Speaking of midfielders, they've got one of the best midfielders in the comp to encounter next week when Fremantle play Richmond at the MCG, and Richmond are on fire right now. That's their last game before their bye. Fremantle, as we've mentioned, the Adelaide Crows have the bye next week. There's been talk about Fremantle playing ugly football. Their president, their CEO, came out during the week and said the crowds are up. The last time these two teams met here, there was 30,000 here, and this afternoon there's 31,500. So crowds certainly haven't dropped off Fremantle just yet.
It's going to be interesting at the end of the year, though, sure, to see what Ross does. And I wouldn't be surprised if he cuts the list and cuts the list pretty hard. I mean, there's guys at the present time, like Silvani, for instance. I'm not sure why he was dropped. Nick Subban, why is he struggling to get into this side? Kepler Bradley's another one who doesn't appear to be on the long-term list.
Riley back with the flight. 31,392 here this afternoon, and for a while they were getting their money's worth. Fremantle came from 36 points down to take the lead, but it's been all Adelaide since that time.
And I think that is the point, Dwayne, that we will leave here tonight knowing, I think, that we're seeing a side capable of really successful September, and that is because they were gone, they were knackered, they were stuffed, and yet they found a way to come over the top of Fremantle with the crowd roaring and the momentum, and yet they were able to stop that just by winning from stoppages.
Pearce bangs one inside 50 late, off some hands. The first gamer, Hayden Crozier, to advantage, and then takes it across the line, but he's shown some good signs.
Yep.
His mother and father were at draft day, and Hayden Crozier, the Victorian, was taken by Fremantle, and his mother cried. Didn't want him to be taken to the other side of the country, but he's shown some signs that he might be able to play some good footy here with the Fremantle Footy Club. Mazungu couldn't take the mark. Paul Pleasure gathers on the siren. The Adelaide Crows stood up and it counted. 8 wins and 2 losses heading into the bye for Brenton Sanderson. The Adelaide Crows 17-9, 111 to 12-10, 82. An amazing game in some respects, but in the end, the best team won.
Oh, without doubt, and they may well prove to be the best team of them all later in the year, but they won't want to hear all that stuff, Dwayne. They want to talk about week to week, but all we know is that at three-quarter time they'd lost their way, and it was 18-6 in the clearances in the final quarter, and the bloke who had 5 of those 18 is with Jacko.
Yeah, certainly is, Rory. Fantastic game. You got off to a flying start, particularly in that second quarter, but Fremantle came back at you.
Yeah, they did, and we knew they were going to come out hard, and that they had a bit of a run on the end of that second quarter, and we thought that might flow on, and it did, and it was good to respond in that last quarter.
Freo kicked the first 2 of the last quarter, hit the front for the first time of the day. You guys looked really flat, but it was yourself. Got the team up and running. Talk us through that last quarter.
Now, look, I came back on the bench and had a chat to Campo and Sando, and we really wanted us to lift through the midfield, and yeah, we pushed the message through the midfield, and you saw that in the end.
Had a couple of big scalps this year, Sydney, Geelong and Carlton, but coming to Perth was always a big one as well. You must be happy that you got this one going into the break.
Yeah, they're always tough trips. I mean, the flight kills you. It's a tough run for them the whole year. I feel so sorry for them having to travel to Melbourne and all other places, but we set ourselves to come and win over here, and it was good to get the win.
We in the commentary just want to know, have you got any relation to Jared Healy? Because he reckons you're not a bad player.
No, I don't, sorry. No relation.
Good stuff. Enjoy the win, mate. Well done.
Cheers, mate.
Rory Batman Sloan, as he calls himself, and it was a superhero style performance this afternoon. 33 possessions to Rory Sloan. One of their other big stars is also downstairs with Glenn Jakovich.
Yes, I certainly have. Patrick, a fantastic game. We just spoke to Rory, but you looked gone there in the last quarter, but you found something.
Yeah, we did, and it was important because we knew that if Freo got a good start in that last quarter, that they could get on top, the crowd gets behind them, so it was important for us to really fight it out to the end, and it was a good effort by the boys in the end.
What about yourself? You had your moments, but in that last quarter you looked like you were gone, but you had to find something yourself.
It's absolutely knackered in the last quarter, Jacko, but I suppose you might not make it your quarter, but if you can make it your moment in the quarter and put on a block or a tackle or something like that, that's what we really pride ourselves with doing. If we're not having the input we might like.
Just want to talk about your side. The team were just looking for each other today. It's moments where guys were tapping the ball to each other, sending the ball, just really looked positive. Is that something that you're really trying to generate?
Yeah, absolutely. The way we started, we probably used a little bit too much handball, so we sort of looked at addressing that and just keep being positive through the whole game. We knew that Freo would come back at times, but if we stayed positive throughout the whole game, we knew we were capable of winning the game.
You're obviously very happy here. You just signed during the week for a massive contract, long term, I reckon.
Oh, massive, Jacko. No, it's good to get out of the way and just focus on playing footy now, and rather than fielding questions about contracts.
Finals footy now, eh?
Well, take it one step at a time.
Oh, stop it. You're going to give us something more than that.
No, look, we've had a really good start to the season, and we'd be disappointed certainly if we didn't play finals. So 8-2 is a really good start for us, and we've got to continue it in the second half of the season because the grand final's not won in the first half of the season. Good boy. Enjoy that contract, though. Cheers, Jacko.
He's quality. Patrick Dangerfield, new 3-year deal. Is now the second best clearance player in the competition for 2012, and he helped the Adelaide Crows get over the line. And Brenton Sanderson's start as an AFL coach is a dream start, heading into the bye with 8 wins and 2 losses. Don't go away. We'll be back to wrap up straight after the break. Adelaide by 29 points.